What's going on, YouTube? Baltmatrix here, and today we are taking a look at Transformers The Last Knight Infernocus. Picked this up at my local Toys R Us, or the Toys R Us near work. Now, the reason I'm doing this review on the back of two Toy World orange stands is because my normal backdrop is actually making it next to impossible to see the details of the individual figures. I know that sounds really weird, but it's true. It just doesn't show up on camera. It's because all of these figures are simply monochromatic. The set also comes with this very diminutive Quintessa figure, and it's real small, really small. For a quick size comparison, here is Quintessa next to a Titan's Master and Legends Gnaw. It is highly detailed though, but you cannot tell any of the detailing because it's transparent. Okay, more translucent than anything, but it's so small and it's clear. I mean, I could tell it's a female form. There's snake-like legs. I mean, here are the tendrils coming off the back. There are arms, and there is a head in there. I don't know, it kind of reminds me of a female version of Serpentor. I know that's not correct or even accurate, but, I mean, I can't really see any detailing, so I'm just going with my imagination here. There are 5 figures in this set, as you could see. 4 of them are from Transformers Prime, specifically the Terracons from Transformers Prime, with a new middle dude. And the figures are the new guy Skulk, Gorge, Infernocon Thrash, Rupture, and Glug. Taking an up-close look at Skulk first, you can see that his head sculpt is really, really good. And he's also got a tummy head. The overall aesthetic of the figure is actually pretty neat. He doesn't have an alt mode. He transforms directly into the torso, so there's nothing else you get other than this horned devil dude. He does come with 2 swords that fit nicely into his hands, and obviously the swords do combine for the combined mode, and that's pretty much it. Posability is okay. Head does not move. Arms move in and out at the shoulder, and then just below the shoulder. Swivel at the elbow, hinge at the elbow, ball joint in the hip, swivel at the leg, bend at the knee, and that's it. You can get some okay poses, but all of them make him look like he's trying to take a poop. Next, we'll take a look at Rupture, and Rupture is a Condor-esque beast. It's also one of the only beasts to have any real color in the alt mode, specifically the wings here. Other than that, it's pretty much black all around except for these little orange beady eyes. Transformation is very simple. First, flip the tail up just a little bit, fold the feet up into the shins, take the shoulders and pull them in to form robot shoulders, take the bird head and push it down into the chest, flipping up the robot head around the back, fold up the giant tail, stand the figure up, and then pose the arms thusly. And here we have Rupture in his robot mode. Robot mode works well, but I would much prefer there to be more freaking color on these things. I get what they're going for. I understand why they're doing it. Man, talk about lazy in the paint scheme. Posability is okay. He does have ball joints in the shoulder and in the elbow. Head does not move. Ball joint in the hip. Bend at the knee. Well, by knee, I mean the bird knee. Other than that, he just kind of stands there and looks gray. Next up is Thrash, and Thrash is Sinner Twin. All black. The only coloring is in his eyes. It's okay. Very spiky. I like the look. Transformation is, again, very simple. We're going to start at the bottom of the legs, take the Terracon feet and turn them around to make robot feet, come up to the legs, pull the upper leg out, flip it down along the body of the leg, and then close it up over the foot or top of the foot. Stand the figure up, take the arms or the monster feet and fold them back. Take the heads, fold them out to become the shoulders and the arms. Flip the monster legs up a little bit. Open the bottom of the beast mode and flip up the head. And here we have Thrash. And in his robot mode, I think he looks pretty good. Again, paint is minimal. Paint is a little bit on the chest, that orange-red, and then the orange-red in his eyes, and then his arms. I like this figure. I really do. I think it looks good, even if the paint is a little lacking. Next up, we have Glug, who is, well, he's a giant shark monster. Again, paint is only at the eyes. Transformation for this guy is pretty complex, actually. First, disconnect the back of the fin to the head and flip up the tail section. And when you do that, that will push the bottom of the monster mode out, which then you could flip all the way up to the back of the monster mode, and then pull the fin all the way up. Then come to the feet, or I'm sorry, the head of the monster mode, split the monster face open, flip the face back, fold the entire section back like that, and then you've got the feet, and the robot mode is complete. Though it does have a tendency, at least on mine, to just come undone at the chest very easily. This is probably the most finicky of all of the Infernocons, simply because he doesn't like to stay together all that well in robot mode. You do have to just kind of get him posed the way you want him and just leave him. Doesn't look too bad. Again, the monochromatic thing has got to stop, but that's just the thing with this set. Overall, I think it looks good in a robot mode. And finally, we have Gorge, my favorite of the Terracons. This is not Blot. I like it a lot. I think it's my favorite beast mode of them all. It's kind of like this gorilla-esque beast mode with these claws that are made for ripping and tearing. And then he's got a little mouth that's awesome with this awesome mohawk. He's got the most color in the monster mode of any of them, which I greatly appreciate. Transformation is pretty cool. Take the monster head, flip it up all the way to the back of the monster mode. Next, take the belly of the monster and just kind of unpeg it from the legs. Then grab the shoulders and push them together like that. And then come to the belly that you just flipped out and flip up the robot head and answer the text that you just got. Then push the chest back and it locks everything into place. Fold down the monster's legs and open up the claws to form feet for the robot mode. Fold the monster legs down and flip out the fists to form the arms of robot mode. And just make sure that the head is fully flipped out. And there we go. We have a gorilla-esque robot mode, which, as I said, is my favorite robot mode, even though he's got a giant monster-esque like combination between a xenomorph and Godzilla hanging off his butt. Now what you're supposed to do is actually push this all the way up into his back. So he still has a monster head hanging off of his back, but, you know, if somebody just comes up behind him, he could see them coming. So that's the way I look at it. It's my favorite of the robot modes as well, next to Skulk. I actually like Skulk's robot mode quite a bit, but this guy just looks beefy and ready for some action. And the coloring is just right, even though there's, you know, not much color. I get what this set is going for as a whole. I really wish there was more color, though. It's just so disconcerting to have nothing but this deep charcoal black and just spots of color here and there. Now, the combined mode that these guys all merge into is, well, just about as colorful as this is. But I think it's interesting. I like what they've done here. I do. It's just so hard to make out any differences between the figures other than the basic shape because of the monochromatic color scheme. Though if I have to pick favorites, I have to go with Skulk being probably one of my favorites, and that dude right there, Gorge. I just love that figure. Then I would have to say the not Sinner Twin, Rupture, and Glug. So let's get into the merge sequence. The first thing we're going to do is peg the swords together to make one giant spine sword. Next, we're going to take Skulk. First thing we're going to do is take the shoulders and fold them up and peg them together like that. Then come to the robot legs and then turn them so that these tabs that are on his inner thighs peg into these peg holes that are on the back of his butt armor. And this is actually somewhere where you have to be a little bit careful, because if you push too hard and put too much pressure on the hip, the ball joint will just pop right off. But it does go back on pretty darn easily. And just getting everything lined up is a bit tricky, especially when everything is black. So, now that that's done, and he looks ridiculously goofy, take the feet and rotate them down, like so. Come to the belly, open up the chest and belly like that, revealing the giant robot head. Grab the robot head, flip it up and forward until it pegs into place, and then you end up with this double head thing. Take the robot head, fold it as far back as you can. There are 1, 2, 3 different hinges. So flip all those hinges out, and then at the middle hinge, snap it back in, and the main robot head will fold up into the giant robot head. It doesn't really snap into place all that well, but it will eventually with enough force, and then you end up with giant Skull Lord here. Then come down to the legs of the Skull Lord mode, and point them straight down and straighten out the arms. And you want to make sure that the pins are pointing to the back of the figure. Now, you can come into the back and fold up the cage again, or you can leave it splayed open like that. It doesn't matter. And we've got the torso ready to go. We'll start the limb modes with Glug, and to do that, first we will combine the feet together like that, and make sure that they are nice and tightly combined. Push the beast arms, or little beast arms, down until they snap into place. Come to the head, pull the head and chest out, flip the head up into the body, kind of fold this whole section down a little bit, and then take the arms and fold them across the chest like that. And that's pretty much it. The reason we push the chest down, which you can push the chest down even farther if you want, and give him some more heels or heel-like struts, is because that is the connector port. So what I like to do is fold it all the way down, connect it, and then fold this section back up over the connector. Next up is Gorge. Flip the chest down, fold the head all the way up, close the chest again, turn the figure around, bring the legs together, then fold down the monster head, and there is a peg right here that the back of the feet will peg into, specifically that peg hole right there. And getting that lined up is a little bit tricky. Not too hard. By tricky, I mean it's just a little bit annoying. So there. Then we take the arms and simply fold them as far forward as they will go. I wish they folded in more, but they... Oh, yes, they do. What am I talking about? So there are hinges here, and getting them to move is slightly troubling, or you do need a bit of force to get it, and that's pretty much it. So we'll go ahead and get Skulk here, and find the connector port, and peg it in. So we have to open up the chest and push the connector into that open hole right there. Like that. Close that up. And then spread the legs a little bit. Find the connector and jam it into place. Fold that up. And there are his feet. Oops. Foot's coming apart. Rupture's up next, and it's pretty much just return him to his beast form. So just reverse his transformation. Put his wings straight up like that. Take his head and put that straight up. Put his wings all the way forward like that. Fold up his tail. Then flip out or flip down the beast claws. And that's pretty much it. We just kind of leave him like this, and he will attach and become the right arm. Last up is Thrash, and it's kind of return him halfway to his beast form. So pop open his chest, and if you do it too hard, all the pieces come out like you just saw. So everything just flies out of him. He's not exactly assembled all that great. So fold the monster limbs up. Flip the monster legs forward. Now come down to the feet. Fold the tail up along his back like you would for robot mode, and then just turn his feet around so that the robot feet are pointing towards the back. Leave the little side armors there. And then this will attach to Infernocus like this. And here we have Infernocus in his combined mode, and he looks interesting. There's a lot more color there in the chest. That head sculpt is really quite fantastic. I really do like that. The overall aesthetic of the combined mode is okay. It's not perfect, but I get what they're going for. He can wield his giant sword in this mode, though getting any of the mouths to hold it is really tough, and getting any movement out of the figure at all is difficult, because thankfully Skulk's limbs are very tight, but the limbs themselves are a bit on the floppy side. So this is the best, pose that I've been able to manage out of him. I still think this set works pretty well. It's not perfect, but I think it works. And let's see if I could balance Quintessa up here. Nope. Size-wise, Infernocus is roughly the same height as a Titan's Returns Voyager class figure. As you can see, Quintessa is roughly the size of his head. I think this is an interesting set. I think it would be much, much better if it was a deluxe class set, because the deluxe class version of Rupture and Thrash that we got back in Prime were fantastic figures, and I would kill for a Transformers Prime Abominus set in a deluxe class. So, you know what? Third parties, get on that. There's a lot of good ideas here. Execution isn't perfect, but it's good enough for right now. I just wish it had more paint. More red throughout the entire figure, or this weird orange and silver would work wonders. Overall, is it worth picking up? Yeah, I think so. But get it on sale. So gang, I hope you have enjoyed this video review. As always, I am Baltmatrix. Ask you to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.